Good morning, everyone. Welcome to your Thursday's English lesson. Before we begin today's lesson, I would like you to reflect back on your learning this week. What did we learn about? You're right, we learned about non-chronological reports. Can you remember what is a non-chronological report? You're right, non-chronological reports are texts that gives us information and facts about a subject that we might be interested in or we might not know a lot about. Now, can you remember some of the features of a non-chronological report? You're right, they might have a heading in a large font, they might have an introductory paragraph. The text is split up into paragraphs, and each paragraph says it is a different aspect of the subject. They have subheadings for each paragraph. They're usually written in present tense. They have real true pictures of the subject. They have captions under each picture to explain what is in the picture. They have diagrams with labels. They have lists of facts in bullet points. They might have graphs or charts showing information about the subject. They might have boxes which contain interesting individual facts to grab the attention of the reader, and they might have technical vocabulary in bold. Now, before we begin today's lesson, let's have a look at our star words. Are you ready? My turn, your turn. My turn first. Text, report, fiction text, non-fiction text, non-chronological report, paragraph, headings, subheadings, title. Fantastic work. Let's move on to our learning question for today's lesson. Your learning question is, can you identify features of information texts? And your step to success is to look closely at the text, to identify features of information texts, and to know the difference between fiction and non-fiction text. So what is the main difference between fiction and non-fiction text? Can you think? Pause the video and have a little chat. Are you back? Did you have a little think? Okay, so you're right. So a fiction text is normally a story and it's not real, while a non-fiction text gives us information about something that we want to know. For example, here we have two books. The first one is called, the title is The Tiger Who Came to Tea, and then the second book, the title is Tigers. Which one do you think is a fiction and which one do you think is a non-fiction text? You're right, The Tiger Who Came to Tea is a fiction text, while The Tigers, this one from the National Geographic, is a non-fiction text that gives us information about tigers. Fantastic. So today we're going to have a little think and we're going to learn more about information text. So how do you know if a text that you're reading is an information one? So have a think about these questions. Does it have a contents page? Does it have an index? Does it have glossary? Does it have pictures and or illustrations? Is it non-fiction? So does it have facts? Okay, let's have a look. So I have a book here where we can see all the features of a non-fiction text. So as you can see, a non-fiction text will have a contents page, and the contents page tell us what we're going to learn in the book when we read it. Remember what we said with non-chronological reports, that when you read an information text, you don't have to read the whole book. You can just look at the contents and you can have a look at what you want to learn about. So for example, In this book here, I would like to learn about how do I play the rhythm sticks. And I can go straight on page 10. So I don't have to read this book from page 1. I can just have a look on the contents page and and look at the page number and go straight to that page number and start reading what I'm interested to learn about. Then we move on to the headings. So as we said, each paragraph, so each aspect of the subject that we want to learn will have a heading which tell us what the paragraph is talking about. So for example, in this book, it says, what is music? And when you read the paragraph at the bottom, it says music is creating sounds. When you sing or play an instrument, you make music. So here, the heading tells us what we're going to read on that page. Now we're going to move on to photographs. So can you have a look at these photographs in a non-fiction text, in an information book? Are they real or are they illustrations? That means, did someone draw them? No, they're real pictures. So an information book will have real pictures. Fantastic. Then its picture might have captions. So it says in about 90 days, the sunflower will be fully grown. And that gives us some information about the picture that we see in the photograph. And they might have diagrams. Can you see? This is the diagram of how a sunflower grows. You can see here how a seed grows in 10 days and how tall it is in 30 days and how it is grown in 90 days. It's a big adult plant. So as you can see, each of these have a label that tell us what we're looking at the photograph. So it gives us some information, give us more information about it. And then at the back of the book, you normally find a glossary. The glossary is different words that you might not know about. So if you come across a word that you don't know in an information text, you can go to the glossary and find out about what this word means. It also have an index page which tell us in which pages of the book we meet these words. So you can see in this book that the index page says that the word drum, you can see it in the page 6, 7, and 23. So now that we had a look at the different features of an information text, I would like you to have a think about the difference and the different features between a fiction and a non-fiction book. So let's have a look and read through them. So a fiction book, what do you think you might have? What are the features on a fiction book? It's a storybook. Well done, it's a story. And is it real? No, it's non-real. It has lots of characters and it's a made-up story. It has a setting, it has a beginning, a middle, and an end, and it has lots of illustrations. When you read a fiction text, you have to read it from the beginning, otherwise the book will not make sense to you. But a non-fiction text gives us information. It is real and true, so it's not made up. It teaches us new things. It has text features that we talked about earlier. For example, it has headings and captions. It might have subheadings, has paragraphs. It has real pictures and it has contents. Okay, so and when we read a non-fiction book, we can start reading it from wherever we like, and it doesn't matter if we don't read it from the beginning because it will still make sense as long as we read that paragraph that we're interested about. Now let's have a little exercise. Are you ready? Okay, let's train our minds Now, I'm going to read you some phrases, and I want you to think where that phrase is from, a fiction or a non-fiction text. Are you ready? Are you steady? Okay, let's go. What do tigers like to eat? Is it a fiction or non-fiction? You're right, it's non-fiction because we're going to learn information about what tigers like to eat. Once upon a time, there lived a little boy called Jack. Is it a fiction or a non-fiction? You're right, it's a non-fiction, sorry, it's a fiction text. Well done, it's from the story Jack and the Beanstalk. Tigers are endangered species. Do you think that is a fiction or a non-fiction text? Yes, it is a non-fiction text because it gives us some information about tigers. A cat has sharp claws. Is that fiction or non-fiction? You're right, it's non-fiction because it gives us information about a cat. A baby tiger is called a cub. Is that fiction or non-fiction? You're right, it's non-fiction. Fantastic. Little Red Riding Hood put on her cape and went to see her grandma. Is it fiction or non-fiction? You're right, that is a fiction, and it's from the story of Little Red Riding Hood. So your task for today is to copy the headings, fiction sentences, and non-fiction sentences into your home learning book. Then decide if the sentences on the next page are fiction or non-fiction. Then write the sentence under the correct heading. So here are your sentences. So pause the video here and think where you need to write each of these sentences. So you have, once upon a time, tiger came to tea. Tigers have claws. Jack went up the beanstalk. Tigers live in Asia. A long time ago, there were 3 little pigs who lived in a cottage. The big bad wolf blew their house down. Plants need water to grow. Once you complete that, I would like you to think of your challenge, which is to explain to an adult why you sorted the sentences the way you did. Okay, so pause the video here and complete your work in your home learning book. Don't forget, you need to take a picture and send your work to your class teacher so we can see your beautiful learning. Well done, everybody. I will see you next time.